In this lesson, we're going to cover the all-important topic of what is the metaverse. We're going to be creating our own metaverse, and we need to understand exactly what is a metaverse. In this section, we'll be talking about what makes a metaverse so popular. Why are metaverses so famous where all of a sudden everybody's talking about the metaverse? And what can we expect to see in the coming years because of the metaverse? We're going to begin by talking about a very popular character that you may be familiar with, which is Mark Zuckerberg. Now, Mark Zuckerberg rose to fame through creating Facebook, and everybody knows him as the creator of Facebook. What's interesting is that that's no longer his call to fame because Facebook is no longer Facebook. Facebook is now Meta. Meta is a completely transformed and 180-degree turn of Facebook because Facebook, as we know it, no longer exists. And now we're moving towards the vision of Meta, which involves the metaverse. Now, to really understand why we got here, let's look back at history throughout how the web has been evolving throughout the years. If we really look at Web 1.0, we're looking at Netscape. This is the early 90s, mid 90s, and people really back then, when they used the web, simply looked at text or looked at pictures, and they might play a video, but they really didn't have much of an interactive element to it. Mosaic was actually the browser that Netscape made famous that enabled people for the first time to really experience the whole web as it existed back then. As time went by, the web evolved, and then we moved to Web 2.0. Web 2.0 enabled people to interact. You could actually upload content and interact with other people. This is where Facebook came in and established a whole move towards social media. Facebook is your perfect example of a Web 2.0 company. Now, the Web 2.0 is a lot more interactive, but Web 2.0 is merely a moment in time, and the web has still been evolving. And since the advent of blockchain, we've moved on to decentralization and Web 3.0. What you see here is the logo for Decentraland, which is one of the most popular metaverses. What a decentralized metaverse enables you to do is to actually own property. You can actually buy land within Decentraland, and you can actually own assets. You could actually have a boat, for example, or a building in a Decentraland. So the key thing is this Web 3.0 is decentralized and it's not controlled by a single entity like a Facebook or a YouTube or a Twitter. A decentralized metaverse actually gives you the opportunity to truly have your own unique presence. And this is where Decentraland is really established. It's the key example of what a decentralized metaverse is. So as you can see, the transition has been from Web 1.0 to Web 2.0 with Facebook, and now we're moving to Web 3.0. And this is why you're seeing Facebook having to scurry and hurry up to try to stick around and actually transition into Web 3.0. To understand better the metaverse, we need to understand that the metaverse is a virtual world in which we can connect using a series of devices and technology that will make us think that we're really inside it, and we can interact with all its elements. So when you go into a metaverse, it's almost like you're stepping into a world that exists exclusively digital. Another thing I want to point out is that there is not just one metaverse. There are multiple metaverses. And as we go through this course, you'll be able to see how you too can create your own metaverse. Now, moving forward, let's talk a little bit further about the metaverse and key elements you need to understand. Among them, there's 3 pillars you need to understand. Key thing is that the metaverse actually is composed of 2 words. It's composed of beyond and universe, and you need to understand that the word metaverse actually was first coined in a novel from 1992 called Snow Crash. So whenever you talk to anybody about the metaverse, you should know that the term metaverse has been around since 1992. And it was first mentioned in this novel called Snow Crash by author Neal Stephenson. So this concept of the metaverse has been evolving, and now we're living it in reality. As we continue through, I also want to point out that the word metaverse was actually the short list for the word of the year for 2021, and it almost won, but was beat out by NFT, or non-fungible token, which is also related technology to metaverse. As we go through this course, you'll see how you can create your own metaverse, and you can have NFTs within this metaverse. So it's very important that both metaverse and NFT were like choices for the word of the year in 2021, and NFT won. But just to point out to you how popular the metaverse and NFTs are. As we continue, I want to talk to you about additional elements about the metaverse that you need to understand. Within the metaverse, there's virtual reality, there's augmented reality, and then there's blockchain. when we look at virtual reality and augmented reality, these are ways in which you can experience the metaverse. So you're familiar with a virtual reality headset where you can actually put on a headset and it's like you're in a different world that you're transported into. In augmented reality, you actually use a mobile device or some sort of other device that will make you look at the physical world, but on top of the physical world, you can project digital assets. So through the use of augmented reality and a mobile device, you can look at a surface and actually project a digital asset on top of that physical surface. Now, to put it all together, we have blockchain. Blockchain is the technology that enables us to actually have assets that can be owned within these decentralized metaverses. So now that we know these three components, I want to talk to you a little bit further about what you need to know in metaverses. For example, your physical presence within the metaverse, or rather your digital presence within the metaverse, will consist of an avatar. These are examples of avatars. Different people have different avatars, and these avatars can be customized to look a certain way depending on the metaverse where you are. Just to put things in context, if you're within a virtual reality world, you can be whatever you want. You could look like yourself or you could look completely different, because within a virtual reality world, you're in a completely different space and you can be whatever you want. Now, to give you an example, this is my avatar, and this is my digital self as I appear within many different metaverses. So you can find me within a metaverse, and this is the way that I look. Now, my clothing may change depending on the metaverse where I am and the season of the year. I may want to wear some shorts. Depending on the day that I am, I may want to wear a t-shirt. It just depends. But for typical purposes, this is usually what my avatar looks like. And as we go through, you're going to understand how all of this works together with the power of blockchain technology, which is what enables all of us to have these digital assets that can be owned and controlled within the metaverse. In the next lesson, I'm going to get you into 3JS, which is the JavaScript library that will enable us to be able to work and creating our own metaverse.